The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Sierra Vista, on your new apparatus, job number 30675. Please utilize this number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment or Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started with little details of your apparatus. Starting in the front bumper, you have a passenger side and driver side air horn. Located in the center of the apparatus, there is an electronic siren. On the driver's side of the bumper, there is a mechanical siren. Just up from that, there is an 1.5-inch discharge port. Moving up from that onto the cab, there is the cluster which houses the low and high beam headlights. Moving upward from that location are a set of warning lights, forward facing. Moving to the exterior sections of the cab, there are the turn indicator. And further up on the cab where the windshield, there are 3 windshield wipers. Moving further up to the top are the running lights. Mounted in the very center is a floodlight. Just behind the floodlight on the top is located the warning or emergency lights. Moving back down to the bumper on the exterior side, right and left, is another set of warning lights. Looking at the side of the apparatus, there are grab handles located on the cab and body. Also located is a red plug-in, which is the shore power battery tender. Next to that is the air inlet outlet valve. At the top of the cab and body, you have external floodlights. You have a tank water level indicator. Moving inside to the cab at the base, you have a mechanical siren foot switch, a quarter turn battery switch. Beneath that is your diagnostic ports. Above from that, on the driver's left-hand side, is the ignition switch, start switch, your hazard lights, left and right turn signal. Located in the small section here is an emergency master, which controls all of your emergency lights. Just to the right of that is the headlights. Moving further to the right is a toggle switch is for dimming or brightening your dash lights. Looking at the center console is the Pierce Information Center. To the right of that is the Allison transmission pad. To the right of that are 2 sections of switches. Moving to the right is the pump shift. There is a blank space just above that, and at the very top is the right and left mirror adjustments. Looking closer at this, you have the generator PTO switch. You have numerous amounts of future switches available for future electronics. The Loadmaster on-off switch. On the lower section of switches, you have an engine brake on-off switch. The engine brake settings for low, medium, and high. Additional future switch locations. The mirror heat switch. The pump to road switch. And once again, the right and left mirror controls. Moving above the driver's head, you have a variety of push button switches. There are two sets of switches which control your floodlights and emergency lights. There is also a focused reading light. Looking from the driver's section backwards, there is a variety of just compartmental storage, both near the SCBA holders and overhead. There are two forward-facing quick-release SCBA seats. Looking from the front of the cab, on the driver's side, you'll notice a set of switches. I have more detailed information on those switches in the next slides. First, on the left-hand side, you have your temperature control. This is the shore or generator outlet for 120, 20 amp circuitry. Next to that is the vacuum regulator. Just beneath the vacuum regulator is a 12-volt power supply. Moving from the top to the bottom, you have the oxygen cylinder on-off switch. You have a seating lights on-off switch, in addition with a seating light bright and dim switch. This is the overhead dome light on-off switch, and just beneath that is the dome light bright and dim switch. You have exhaust fans located in the ceiling. This is a switch that controls those. You have lights inside your EMS compartments, and this is a switch that would control those. And then you have a dedicated switch for your suction unit, which is an on-off switch. Looking overhead, you have oxygen regulator plugins. You have two grab handles that run the full length of the cab. Two IV holders. You have a center-mounted fluorescent light. You have two exhaust fans. There are a variety of just domed lights. And you have two radio speakers. Looking further inside the cab, there is an oxygen regulator located on the wall. Just beneath the seat, there is a fan control for your heater. Looking on the exterior, there are pass-through compartments for utilizing of hose, pre-connected and non-pre-connected. You have a slide-out shelf in the very bottom compartment and also a slide-out tilting shelf on the middle compartment. This is your breaker panel. Breaker number 1 and number 3 are the main breaker panel. Breaker number 2 is your transfer relay. Breaker number 4 is the air conditioner. Breaker number 5 is the floodlight. Number 6 is a floodlight. Number 7 are your cord reels for the driver's side. Number 8 is your cord reel for the passenger side. Number 9 is for the exterior receptacle on the driver's side fender. And number 10 is for the exterior passenger side over the fender. Also located in the compartment just adjacent to this is a removable gang electrical plug, in addition with a reel above that and the push button to roll the reel back in. You have on the left and right side of the wheel, you have bottle or SCBA bottle storage. There is a 20 amp exterior plug and a warning light or emergency light. All right, starting in the upper left-hand corner of your pump panel, we have a variety of different switches here, which I have a more detailed indicator that I'll talk about a little later on. The next in the red encompassed area is your foam system. Also, just to the right of that is your water tank level. Also looking just to the right of that, you have two gauges. One is your pump intake and one is your pump discharge. And to the far right-hand side of that is your throttle module selector. Looking just below that, there are 5 discharge ports. The center in pink is the master deluge. Moving to the right-hand side is a large diameter discharge. Moving down once again to the T handle is the tank fill or recirculating line. The round knob is the engine cooler. Next over in the T configuration is the pump drain. The next 2 pull valves are for your pre-connects. Moving further down is your tank to pump. Slightly to the right is your primer for the fire pump. The round circular is a flush valve. Moving further over is your foam fill. At the very bottom, you have master drains and drain valves for all the different discharge ports, including an inspection door, As we get closer and look at those switches from above, you have a blank switch for a future, in addition with your step lights. The indicator below that is an indicator light, which is indicating for the pump engaged. Just below that is the driver side floodlight. Below that is the passenger side floodlight. And you have a toggle switch for the air horn. Looking at the rear of the apparatus, at the very top is a step light. Subsequently, we'll move down the apparatus. You can see there are a variety of different grab handles. Set of running lights at the top. Moving down from that, a set of warning lights. Moving down from that are two rear-facing floodlights. Moving further down is the stop, turn, reverse cluster. You also have an interior set of warning lights. And at the very bottom, another set of step lights. These are the two discharge ports for 2.5 to the rear. This is a large diameter discharge. An additional large diameter discharge. A large diameter pump intake. There are two closed loop tow hooks. And moving to the hose bed at the very top, you have two dividers. Also on the right-hand side is ladder storage. Looking at the passenger side of the vehicle, there is a warning light in the upper top corner, a warning light just over the tire, a warning light mid-cab, Looking at the rear compartment, there is a pull-out or slide-out shelf. In addition, with the push button to reel the electrical, you have SCBA storage or bottle storage on both forward and aft portion of the rear tire. This is tool pegboard alignment. In addition, with tool pegboard that moves outward. There's also an exterior plug, which is a 20 amp plug. Moving forward, you have a pull-out shelf again. Just above that is an adjustable shelf. Looking at the other side, this is the through compartment for your hose storage. Just to the inside of that also is where your oxygen cylinder is attached. Looking in the cab on the passenger side, once again a variety of switches that control lights. There is a focused reading light above that, your go light, which is a directional light, and an AM/FM weather channel radio. Also on the passenger side, there are two 12-volt power supply locations. There is a push for air horn, an additional diagnostic port, congratulations, Sierra Vista, job number 30675. If you have any questions, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment for more information.